huhulihin kita kasi hindi pwede yung boga. Hindi naman po lumaban sila mama ko.
Their argument escalated. A previous altercation concerning property right-of-way was rehashed.
Pag ng right of way at saka yung pag ng titulo, pag-aayos ng titulo. Ilang beses nang ginawa niya puro sugod.
According to residents of the barangay, Nuezca, who was assigned in Parañaque City, is not originally from the area.
Yung pulis po, dayo lang dito, nakapangkasawa lang dito. Kaya hindi namin alam kung ano ang background niya.
He was off duty during the shooting. Initial investigation has revealed that Nuezca was previously charged with 2 counts of homicide, but they were dismissed due to lack of evidence. The Philippine National Police condemns the killings and assures that a double murder charge against him is underway. The PNP appeals to all policemen to constantly practice maximum tolerance to avoid such incidents.
Nakakalungkot po kasi hindi po talaga nararapat ang ginawa ng pulis. Lalong-lalo na nasa pangangalaga niya ang isang baril na pwede niyang gamitin na supposedly laban sa kriminal pero ginamit niya sa mga inosenteng tao.
PNP Chief Debold Sinas meanwhile advised the public against capturing videos and photos during crime incidents.
I think nasa mga tao po yun, sa mga witness na kumuha, I will not advise, no? Because very tricky yun. Huwag na tayong mag-interfere, lalo na pag-armed and dangerous.
In a statement, Interior Secretary Eduardo Año denounced the act, but dismissed it as an isolated case that should not lead to hasty generalizations against the National Police. Año adds that a majority of police officers are performing their duty with honor and integrity. Malacanang also claims that the Aaron Cup was a rare case in the police force. It assures an objective investigation.
Isang bugok lang po yung pulis na yan, no? Hindi naman po lahat ng pulis gaya niya. Siyempre po, ang barel para sa proteksyon ng ating mga kapulisan, hindi po yan para gamitin laban sa kanilang mga personal na mga kaaway. Policy cannot be formulated on the basis of aberrations.
Palace spokesman Harry Roque says President Duterte will neither rescind nor modify his order that allowed cops to carry firearms even if they are off duty. For News 5, Justine Punsalang. We are One News.
The Office of the Provincial Prosecutor of Tarlac says they have found probable cause to indict Jonel Nuezca for 2 counts of murder. Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara says they will closely monitor further developments to ensure that justice is done. And the Commission on Human Rights is urging government to conduct widespread investigations into alleged arbitrary killings in the country. The CHR says the government cannot claim adherence to human rights principles if it allows impunity to worsen by not holding perpetrators accountable. The CHR is also appealing to the public to stop vilifying Nuezca's daughter as it could inflict irreparable trauma that might worsen the situation. Senator and former Police Chief Ping Lacson is enjoining the PNP to show no mercy and to spare no effort to make sure that Nuezca rots in jail. And Senator Nancy Binay is calling for internal and structural reforms in the PNP, including value reorientation. She says how the police has kept making headlines for the wrong reasons, ninja cops, manyanita, and land grabbing, among others. Netizens, for their part, have, of course, expressed outrage online with hundreds of thousands of tweets. Several hashtags on the murder trended on Twitter, including Stop the Killings PH, Justice for Sonia Gregorio, End Police Brutality, and Police ang Terorista. The incident alarmed the public, especially on the dangers of firearms falling into the hands of people like Nuezca. This begs the question, what is the process of assessment for gun owners in the Philippines? Let's find out in this report by Jenny Dongon.
Trigger-happy emotion. This may precisely be what Police Senior Master Sergeant Jonel Nuezca demonstrated when he shot his neighbors Sonia Gregorio and her son Frank Anthony. Psychologist Dr. Camille Garcia says the suspect showed clear signs of aggression. Such incidents, she says, lead to the wrong notion that all gun owners have aggressive tendencies. In reality, the doctor says a would-be gun owner goes through a long process.
In fact, para sa atin ngayon dito sa Pilipinas, nagbibigay pa ng psychological assessment para mabigyan ka talaga ng lisensya. So once you're being given the license na magkaroon ng possession ng isang baril, ibig sabihin, you're capable na makontrol mo yung aggression mo, wala kang impulse na maging trigger happy.
Dr. Garcia emphasizes firearms can boost one's confidence, particularly on the act of retaliation and defense. But in Nuesca's case, the suspect's arrogance contributed to the impulsive act.
And the mere fact na sinabi ng bata na yung sense of entitlement na my father is a policeman, di ba, parang ganun ang pagkakasabi na in such a way na talagang provoking ang dating, tapos biglang merong sinabing ganun yung kabilang party, talo ka doon. Matatalo ka talaga kasi ang tendency, yung when you act on your impulse, gagawa ka ng hindi maganda. And it's something na talagang it will end up na something violent.
Michael, a gun owner, says he recognizes the huge responsibility of bearing the weapon. He adds that he always takes into consideration their golden rule as gun handlers.
Golden rule namin is always think about safety. Tsaka if hindi ka pa ready mag-shoot, mag-engage ng target, lagi lang talaga nakapoint yung muzzle sa safe area, tsaka finger off the trigger. Yun lang. Tsaka treat the gun as if it was always loaded.
Philippine National Police Chief Dibold Sina says they will look into studying the anger management of its personnel.
That's why we are now consulting with our psychiatric doctors here dito sa Camp Crame kung ano ang effect noon. Siguro hindi niya na-manage yung anger niya.
Former PNP chief and now Senator Panfilo Lacson says policemen should turn over their issued firearms in their unit's armorer or supply officer when off duty. The lawmaker also reminds the PNP of their duty to protect civilians, even from scalawags in the ranks, whether they are on duty or not. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, We Are One News.
The palace says President Duterte was furious over the shooting incident in Tarlac as he addressed the military during the 85th anniversary celebration of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. The president attended the event through video conference from his hometown in Davao City. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana and presidential aide turned Senator Bongo were also seen with him prior to his speech for the event. The president was seen watching the viral video of policeman Jonel Nuesca, who shot a mother and her son point blank in Paniki, Tarlac. Duterte is expected to deliver another message tonight, that's according to Malacanang, although there is no word yet whether he will discuss the matter. Meanwhile, during the AFP event, the president reiterated his commitment to modernizing the military.
We will continue to enhance your skills through capacity building initiatives and the procurement of modern equipment that will enable you to fulfill your mandate.
We'll go for a quick break. When the big story returns. Calamity-stricken Cagayanans had to be evacuated yet again as floodwaters rose due to Typhoon Vicky and the northeast monsoon. And the Philippines is set to start negotiations with Moderna. That's the second vaccine maker to have shipped its shots in the United States. The details later. Good evening. You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay. More than 24,000 Cagayan residents have been evacuated anew due to another flooding. This time, it's being caused by the tail end of frontal system and the northeast monsoon, or the hanging amihan. Romel Lopez is on the ground to monitor the situation. Romel, how are the residents holding up?
Robbie, well, some residents have no choice but to evacuate. Others insist on staying at their homes, saying that they have already gotten accustomed to the flood. Loretta's family has yet to bounce back from the string of calamities that struck their town. But just a few days before Christmas, they have another dilemma to face. Most of Cagayan is submerged in flood water yet again after continuous rain due to Typhoon Vicky, as well as the tail end of a frontal system and northeast monsoon or amihan.
Malungkot, siyempre. Kung pwede lang sana doon na kami sa mga bahay namin.
Rescue operations have already taken place in towns such as Alcala. More than 24,000 residents had already evacuated as floodwater reached as high as 13 meters. But some opted to stay at their homes. The reason, they have already gotten used to the flooding. Others do not want to leave their houses and other belongings.
Sanay na ata po kami sa ganito kasi yung una mas mataas pa po
The rescuers respect their decision.
Po talaga natin maiiwasan yung may mga taong matigas pa rin yung ulo. Siyempre hindi rin po natin sila masisi. Yun na lang siguro gaya nung nakaraang mega flood. Konti na lang yung mga naiwan na mga gamit nila, kaya ho siguro hindi na nila kayang iwan yung mga gamit nila ngayon.
Parts of Cagayan River reached the critical water level of 11.2 meters. Floodgates of Bagat Dam had to be opened at noon. Later in the afternoon, only 2 gates remained open to prevent further flooding. The provincial government of Cagayan admits they are now operating on a tight budget. The province has been facing flooding problems since October, which was worsened by Typhoon Ulysses' onslaught in November.
Malaki problema na nga lang. Most of the local government units are running out of funds. At alam din naman natin that it's the year end. So kung meron mga assistance, might come after na yan.
Cagayan Governor Manuel Mamba says the national government already sent them cash assistance to somehow soften the blow of the calamity. Robbie, the city government of Tuguegarao suspended all government work and classes until Tuesday, December 22. According to Pag-asa's forecast, rain would persist due to the combined effects of the frontal system and hanging amihan. If so, floodwaters would not subside just yet. Robbie?
Maraming salamat, Romel Lopez. Tropical Depression Vicky continues to move further away from the Philippine area of responsibility. Weather Bureau Pag-asa says no tropical cyclone is expected until Friday, and it's lifted all tropical cyclone warning signals in the country. But Vicky is expected to enhance the amihan, or the northeast monsoon, and the tail end of a frontal system that will bring isolated rain showers and thunderstorms, especially over Cagayan Valley, the Cordillera Administrative Region, and the provinces of Aurora and Quezon. As of this morning, the NDRRMC said 8 were reported dead, while 2 were injured. 1 remains missing in the Caraga region due to Tropical Depression Vicky. Agriculture Secretary William Dar estimates the damages to agriculture to around 10.5 million pesos. This figure does not yet include damages from the recent flooding in Cagayan Valley. Meanwhile, Vicky hit Agusan del Sur has reported more than 43 million pesos in infrastructure damages. Some 13,000 families have also been evacuated. Governor Santiago Kane Jr. tells One News Agenda today that while power supply has been restored, potable water remains unavailable in some areas.
Yung water district sa San Francisco, hanggang ngayon po ay hindi pa operational kasi nga po na-damage po ang mga pipelines nila doon. We are already trying their best to restore the supply of potable water.
Discussions on vaccine acquisition are moving along with a potential deal with U.S. biotech company Moderna to begin by year-end. The DOH is also optimistic about other COVID-19 immunization sources by next year. From which developers? Greg Gregorio tells us.
As COVID-19 cases around the globe surpassed 75 million, a second developer has started shipping its vaccines across the United States. Moderna has recently secured emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The Philippines now seeks to get a hold of their shots. Vaccine SAR Secretary Calito Galvez Jr. is set to begin negotiations with the American biotech company on or before Wednesday next week. Just last week, Philippine ambassador to the U.S., Jose Manuel Romualdez, said that Moderna and another U.S. firm, Arcturus Therapeutics, were ready to supply 4 to 25 million doses of their vaccines to the Philippines. But other sources might be forthcoming. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres says organizers of the COVAX facility are confident they will be able to supply vaccine shots for 20% of the country's population within 2021. But it will be in batches.
We're pretty confident that all the countries included in the COVAX facility would receive their allocations throughout next year.
In a TV interview, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin says India's Serum Institute will also supply 30 million doses of their Novavax shots to the Philippines. It may be available by July next year. But one thing has kept health experts and policymakers on their toes: the new variant of SARS-CoV-2 reported in the United Kingdom. Stricter restrictions have been imposed in London and east and southeast of England from December 20 till the end of the year due to rising COVID-19 cases. Public mobility has been limited and only essential establishments are open. Business-related flights are allowed, although workers are encouraged to work from home.
When the science changes, we must change our response. And when the virus changes its method of attack, we must change our method of defense.
The local health department monitors the development on this new variant. They see no need yet, however, to implement a travel ban on those coming from the UK.
Yun pong restriction, I don't think that would be required at this point. Yung atin mga pagbabantay ng ports, with the testing, with the quarantine of all those coming in, ay sinasagawa natin.
Vergeres says that so far, no new strain of the virus has been monitored in the Philippines. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
Let's take another quick break. More big stories when we return. Local governments in NCR are ramping up checkpoints. Does this mean a return to MECQ? And many nations have imposed travel bans to the United Kingdom due to a surge in cases. Will the Philippines follow suit? We'll find out when we come back. Good evening, I'm Robbie Alampay. You're still watching The Big Story. Some parts of the National Capital Region have already heightened their monitoring of compliance with health protocols. Is this prelude to a return to a stricter lockdown in the metro? The answer in Camille Samontes' report.
Heavy traffic greeted several motorists in the boundary of Batasan and San Mateo, Rizal this weekend. It's one of the areas in Metro Manila and nearby provinces where checkpoints were set up to monitor public compliance to health protocols. These checkpoints include those at the boundaries of Batasan, San Mateo, and Quezon City and Rodriguez, Rizal. An SUV with 7 passengers was stopped for violations of safety protocols. The group came from Rodriguez, Rizal and was bound for Quezon City.
Yun po kasi yung dami namin eh.
Opo, isang service lang po talaga.
A company shuttle was also barred from entering Quezon City due to overloading.
Babalik na lang po.
Police say they found that most private and public utility vehicles violate physical distancing measures. Authorities also check for minors and senior citizens among the passengers. They remind the public to strictly follow the mandatory wearing of face mask and face shield even while inside the vehicles.
Talagang binibigyan namin sila ng warning. Yung iba pa nga, pinapabalik na namin, hindi na makapasok. Ayan po. Para sa atin naman po ito, nagkukos lang siya talaga ng traffic.
In Taguig City, Mayor Lino Cayetano threatens a stricter lockdown after some residents and businesses were reported to have disregarded COVID-19 protocols. The mayor laments the seeming neglect of policies on social gatherings, parties with multiple households, overcapacity in restaurants, bars that operate in secret, and unregulated contact sports such as basketball. But while cities are setting up monitoring, the NCRPO denies rumors circulating on social media that Metro Manila will be placed under Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine or MECQ. Acting NCRPO Chief Vicente Dano says additional police forces have been deployed to ensure the implementation of health protocols during the holidays.
Ang i-implement lang natin ngayon is yung talagang stricto na pag-implement ng GCQ. Ibinalik natin yung mga checkpoints kasi hindi lang ito dahil sa GCQ. It is also in line with the Oakland na Paktuhan.
In a separate statement, COVID-19 Task Force Chair Secretary Delphine Lorenzana also stressed that the supposed shift to MECQ is not true. Lorenzana says Metro Manila will remain under GCQ until the rest of the year. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
A new and reportedly highly infectious strain of the coronavirus in the United Kingdom has forced multiple European countries to heighten travel bans to and from the country. Among the nations that shut travel ties with the UK are France, Germany, Italy, Ireland, and Canada. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson will chair an emergency response meeting Monday to discuss international travel concerns, particularly the flow of shipments in and out of Britain. The travel bans are expected to deal another blow to an already disrupted supply chain after the UK left Brexit in January 31 this year. The Brexit transition expires December 31st, with Britain exiting the EU bloc's customs union and single market with or without a trade deal. Now time for the big stories in sports. A look at the game with Paolo Del Rosario.
Thanks, Robbie. We are days away from a brand new NBA season, and as teams ramp up their preparations, Jordan Clarkson and the Utah Jazz remain fixed on their same goal as last year, to contend for a title. The Filipino-American guard shares their biggest takeaway from their playoff run in the bubble in a conversation with our correspondent, Carlo Pamintuan.
We had a chance to, win the series. We had a shot at it. Mike had a great attempt at that, but it was so many smaller things that we could have done earlier in the games or earlier in the other games that we lost in that series to close it out that we could have done. But just harping all the small things and, try to make those adjustments as quick as possible and, try to help us get wins. That's what I picked up.
In boxing, Filipino Raymart Gaballo is the new WBC interim bantamweight champion after a highly contested split decision victory against Puerto Rican opponent Emmanuel Rodriguez. The 24-year-old improved his clean record to 24-0, with two judges scoring in favor of the Filipino bantamweight. Gaballo stepped in to fill in the slot of Nonito Donaire after Donaire tested positive for COVID-19 in early December. Gaballo's next step is a possible bout with Nordin Uabali, the WBC bantamweight championship in recess, who was originally set up to go against Donaire on the same fight card. That's it for the latest in the world of sports. Catch us again later at 9:30 p.m. here on One News and One Sports Plus. My name is Paolo Del Rosario, and this has been The Game. Back to you, Robbie.
Thank you, Paolo. The night sky this Christmas season is extra special as Earthlings have the chance to feast their eyes on a celestial event not seen in almost 400 years. The largest planets in the solar system, Jupiter and Saturn, will align so closely that they will seem to be a single bright star in the night sky to observers on Earth. NASA says the planets will reach their closest alignment, or the Great Conjunction, tonight. The phenomenon is known as the Christmas star, or the Star of Bethlehem. The three kings were believed to have witnessed the phenomenon as they were traveling to pay homage to the infant Jesus in the year 7 BC. And that wraps up today's big story. Catch us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Signal channels 8 and 250. Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. 4 days to go before Christmas. Tuloy pa rin ang Pasko, kapatid. I'm Robbie Alampay and we are One News. Good evening.